Lindsey Graham is one of the most recognized faces in American politics, yet he has managed to keep much of his personal life private. Unlike many politicians, who often share stories about their families, romantic partners, or homes, Graham has carefully maintained a level of secrecy that has sparked curiosity among the public. People are interested not only in his political career but also in where he lives, how he spends his time outside of Congress, and the lifestyle choices he makes behind closed doors. While some public figures are constantly in the spotlight for their extravagant homes or luxurious vacations, Graham has chosen a simpler, grounded lifestyle that reflects his upbringing, career, and personal priorities. His residences, which include a primary home in South Carolina and a secondary townhouse in Washington, D.C., are more than just buildings. They tell a story about a man who values privacy, independence, and a connection to his community. Over the years, media attention and public curiosity have tried to uncover more about Graham's domestic life, yet details remain limited, emphasizing both his careful discretion and his preference for a lifestyle focused on duty, service, and professional responsibilities. Understanding Graham's homes and living arrangements is not just about the physical locations. It is a glimpse into the balance he maintains between public service and personal life. The homes he chooses and the way he uses them illustrate the values that guide his decisions, including stability, practicality, and a strong sense of connection to the places he calls home. As we explore Lindsey Graham's life and residences, it becomes clear that his living arrangements are a reflection of his character, shaped by decades of military service, legal work, and public office. Even without the fanfare of celebrity lifestyles, Graham's homes and the choices he has made about them provide insight into the private side of a public figure who remains devoted to his career while maintaining a personal life largely away from media scrutiny. Lindsey Graham grew up in central South Carolina, in a modest, working-class household that played a key role in shaping his approach to life and responsibility. He was raised alongside his younger sister, Darlene, in a home that was closely connected to the family business. The Graham family ran a combination restaurant, bar, pool hall, and liquor store known locally as the Sanitary Cafe, and their living quarters were located right behind the business. Growing up in this unique environment meant that Graham's early life was intertwined with the daily operations of a bustling small business. He observed firsthand the challenges of managing a business, interacting with customers, and handling a wide range of social situations, from camaraderie to disputes. This experience gave him an early understanding of responsibility, work ethic, and the importance of community. Unlike children who grow up in quiet, private homes, Graham was exposed to the dynamics of adults and customers from a very young age, learning lessons about people, negotiation, and social interaction that would later inform his political career. Tragically, Graham's parents passed away within roughly 15 months of each other while he was in college, leaving him with the responsibility of caring for his younger sister. This sudden shift forced him into a role requiring maturity, empathy, and practical problem-solving skills. Balancing college life with the demands of raising a sibling was not easy, but these experiences helped shape his understanding of home, family, and personal accountability. His upbringing, marked by proximity to both family and community, created a foundation that influenced not only the way he views relationships, but also how he values stability, independence, and dedication to others. During the 1970s, Lindsey Graham attended the University of South Carolina, earning his undergraduate degree in 1977 and later his law degree in 1981. While most of his time was spent in student housing near campus, he regularly returned to his hometown to care for his sister, maintaining a balance between academic responsibilities and family obligations. These years demanded discipline and time management, teaching him how to juggle multiple priorities, an ability that would become essential in both his military and political careers. Student apartments were modest and functional, reflecting the realities of college life rather than luxury. Graham's dual existence between campus and his family home gave him insight into both independence and responsibility as he navigated the demands of his studies alongside the needs of his family. These formative experiences also reinforced his sense of duty and practical problem-solving skills, qualities that later defined his professional and personal decisions. Unlike many of his peers, Graham had to manage adult responsibilities at an early age, preparing him for a life in which dedication, discipline, and careful planning would remain central themes. This period of his life also introduced him to the concept of personal space and privacy, as he balanced time between different residences and learned to maintain his own independence while caring for family members. The lessons from college, combined with the experiences of his childhood, contributed to Graham's ability to prioritize stability, practicality, and measured choices in his personal living arrangements. After completing his law degree, Lindsey Graham transitioned from the academic environment into military service by joining the United States Air Force as part of the Judge Advocate General's JAG Corps. This period introduced him to a highly structured lifestyle that was quite different from his previous experiences. His residences during active duty were determined entirely by his assignments, reflecting the transient and temporary nature of military life. From 1984 to 1988, Graham was stationed at Rhein-Main Air Base in Germany, living in military housing provided on or near the base. These quarters were designed for functionality and efficiency rather than long-term comfort, emphasizing the military's need for organized, standardized housing. During this time, Graham served as both a military prosecutor and defense attorney, gaining experience in the complexities of military law, court procedures, and legal strategy. Living overseas, away from the familiar surroundings of South Carolina, provided Graham with a perspective on independence, responsibility, and adaptability. Unlike his childhood home, where family and community were always nearby, Germany required him to navigate a new culture, manage his daily life independently, and adapt to a disciplined environment that demanded precision and accountability. Despite the challenges, Graham's military years helped reinforce traits that would shape his personal and professional decisions for decades to come. He became accustomed to balancing demanding work schedules with the needs of living in temporary accommodations, learning how to maintain structure and routine even in situations that lacked long-term stability. These lessons in discipline, organization, and self-reliance became a defining aspect of Graham's lifestyle, influencing how he would later approach his homes, investments, and daily routines. The experience also gave him a broader understanding of life beyond South Carolina, exposing him to different ways of living while highlighting the value of returning to a stable, familiar home environment after periods of professional duty in demanding settings. When Lindsey Graham completed his active duty service in 1989, he returned to his native South Carolina to begin his professional legal career. Unlike the structured, assignment-driven life of the military, his civilian life required him to establish permanent roots while still maintaining flexibility to pursue career growth. During this period, Graham lived in modest housing that emphasized practicality and proximity to his work rather than luxury. These homes reflected the early stage of his professional life, where establishing a career as a public servant and attorney took precedence over long-term domestic comfort or extravagant living. Graham began serving as assistant county attorney for a South Carolina county, handling legal matters ranging from civil litigation to municipal law, while also taking on the role of city attorney in his hometown. These positions required frequent interaction with the local community, reinforcing his connection to the region and emphasizing the importance of having a stable home base. By living locally, he was able to maintain close family ties, particularly with his sister, and engage in civic life while building a reputation as a reliable and committed legal professional. In addition to his civilian career, Graham maintained involvement with the South Carolina Air National Guard from 1989 to 1995. This required him to divide his time between civilian work and military obligations, adding another layer of complexity to his living arrangements. While the exact details of his residences during this period are not widely documented, it is clear that they were functional, stable, and suited to a man balancing multiple responsibilities. These years established a pattern that would continue throughout his adult life, a focus on duty, pragmatism, and the careful management of both professional and personal obligations. Even though Graham's homes were modest and unassuming, they were carefully chosen to support his work, family connections, and ongoing military service, illustrating his preference for practicality over ostentation and emphasizing continuity in his living arrangements. Following his election to the United States House of Representatives in 1994 and later to the Senate in 2002, Lindsey Graham established Seneca, South Carolina, as his primary civilian residence. Unlike many national politicians, Graham opted for a ranch-style property in a quiet suburban neighborhood, prioritizing privacy, stability, and comfort over showy appearances. This home, purchased decades ago for a modest price and now estimated to be worth around $1 million, is located near Lake Keowee and the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, offering natural beauty, recreational opportunities, and a peaceful retreat from the pressures of Washington, D.C. For Graham, this home became the central hub of his personal life, a place where he could return between congressional sessions and Senate votes to recharge, spend time on personal interests, and remain connected to his community. Over more than 20 years, the Seneca home has symbolized continuity, rootedness, and a commitment to the town he represents. It reflects the same values seen throughout his life: modesty, practicality, and a connection to community. Beyond simply serving as a private retreat, the home reinforces Graham's identity as a local resident invested in the region. He participates in social, civic, and religious activities, including engagement with the Corinth Baptist Church, which further emphasizes his ties to the area. This residence demonstrates that, despite holding a prominent national office, Graham values the stability of a home environment that is closely linked to his upbringing, personal history, and ongoing commitment to public service. The choice of location, style, and long-term ownership of this property illustrates a deliberate approach to living arrangements, where privacy and community integration outweigh extravagance. In doing so, Graham maintains a lifestyle that is deeply personal and rooted, contrasting with the often impermanent, high-profile lifestyles of many other politicians. This home is more than just a building. It is a reflection of his values, priorities, and approach to life outside the public eye. In addition to his long-standing primary home in Seneca, South Carolina, Lindsey Graham maintains a secondary residence in Washington, D.C., which serves as a practical necessity for his decades-long tenure in Congress and the United States Senate. Like most senior lawmakers, Graham's D.C. residence is designed to accommodate the demanding schedule of a legislator, providing convenience and efficiency for weeks when the Senate is in session or committee obligations require his presence in the nation's capital. Public records indicate that Graham purchased a townhouse in Washington in 1997, approximately 1,254 square feet in size. Though modest compared to some of the more luxurious townhouses in the city, the property meets the functional needs of a busy senator, allowing him to live close to the Capitol, his Senate offices, and other federal agencies. The townhouse serves as Graham's primary workweek residence, providing a practical base for legislative preparation, hosting colleagues for informal discussions, and enabling him to navigate the rigors of national office efficiently. While many politicians favor extravagant or ostentatious secondary homes in the Capitol, Graham's choice emphasizes functionality, modesty, and discretion. Financial disclosures suggest that he holds some mortgage debt on the property, reflecting both common ownership practices in Washington and a practical approach to real estate investment. Beyond its utility, the D.C. townhouse illustrates the dual life structure that defines the existence of many national legislators. Graham splits his time between a stable, private home in his home state and a functional residence near his place of work, allowing him to balance civic responsibility with personal stability. This dual living arrangement is a continuation of patterns observed earlier in his life, from student housing near the University of South Carolina to military assignments in Germany. It underscores his consistent preference for practical solutions, measured decision-making, and independence in personal matters. While the Seneca residence represents privacy, community, and comfort, the D.C. townhouse represents efficiency, accessibility, and professional dedication. Together, these properties allow Graham to maintain equilibrium between personal life and public service, demonstrating a disciplined approach to residence that emphasizes stability, continuity, and grounded living rather than extravagance or public display. By carefully managing both homes, He has created a lifestyle that accommodates his political duties while remaining connected to the personal values and roots that define him outside of Washington. Beyond his primary home and Washington townhouse, Lindsey Graham also owns a small parcel of undeveloped land in South Carolina. While this property does not contain a residence or serve as a domestic space, it holds significance beyond monetary value. Ownership of land, even in undeveloped form, is a way for public figures to demonstrate rootedness, stability, and ongoing ties to their communities. For Graham, this land reflects a long-term investment in his hometown region and a tangible connection to the physical and social landscape of South Carolina. Situated near his ranch-style home in Seneca, the land complements the natural beauty of the area, including proximity to Lake Keowee and the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. The property may also provide recreational opportunities, serve as a future investment, or simply act as a private space that reinforces his sense of connection to the region. This parcel fits into the broader pattern of Graham's lifestyle, which consistently emphasizes practicality, continuity, and rootedness. Unlike politicians who maintain multiple lavish secondary properties, Graham's holdings remain modest and functional, reflecting his preference for stability over extravagance. The land also sends a subtle message to constituents. Graham is invested not only in political representation but also in the community itself. By maintaining property in his home region, he signals long-term commitment and personal attachment, strengthening both his personal and public image. The undeveloped land illustrates Graham's thoughtful approach to personal assets, where each piece serves a purpose, whether practical, symbolic, or financial, rather than acting solely as a display of wealth or status. Combined with his primary residence, the land creates a geographic cluster that anchors Graham in familiar surroundings, reinforcing his connection to the area that shaped him. Through these carefully chosen properties, Graham balances personal privacy, community involvement, and professional obligation, creating a lifestyle that integrates roots, stability, and public service in a deliberate and consistent manner. Lindsey Graham's personal life has been marked by independence and self-containment. Unlike many public figures, he has never married, does not have children, and has consistently lived without a romantic partner. This lifestyle, while private, has become a defining characteristic of his personal identity and public persona. Graham's bachelorhood allows him to focus on professional obligations without the domestic responsibilities that often accompany marriage or raising a family. He has openly addressed his status with humor and candid reflection, once joking that he never found the right girl or that the right girl was too busy for him, acknowledging both personal circumstance and the demands of a public career. Across his various residences, student housing, military quarters, his home in Seneca, and his Washington townhouse, there is no verifiable evidence of him cohabiting with a partner. This consistent pattern demonstrates a preference for autonomy, routine, and personal discipline. Graham's bachelor lifestyle aligns with the values he has cultivated throughout his life: practicality, self-reliance, and a focus on career and civic duty. It also reflects the realities of a political career that requires frequent travel, long hours, and national attention, making sustained domestic relationships more challenging. By choosing independence, Graham maintains control over his schedule, privacy, and personal priorities, reinforcing the disciplined lifestyle evident in his professional and residential choices. His long-standing bachelor status, combined with careful selection of homes, underscores a life structured around stability, duty, and the efficient management of personal and public responsibilities. Rather than seeking public attention through family or romantic arrangements, Graham's living arrangements and personal choices emphasize consistency, privacy, and the prioritization of professional service, illustrating a deliberate approach to both personal life and public image. Looking across Lindsey Graham's life and residences, a clear pattern emerges. From his modest childhood home behind the family business to student housing, military quarters, and early legal residences, he has consistently prioritized practicality, responsibility, and rootedness. His primary home in Seneca, South Carolina, represents privacy, continuity, and community engagement, while his Washington, D.C. townhouse provides efficiency, accessibility, and proximity to work obligations. The small undeveloped parcel of land reinforces a tangible connection to his hometown and demonstrates a commitment to long-term planning. Graham's bachelor lifestyle further emphasizes independence, self-discipline, and the prioritization of professional obligations over domestic concerns. Collectively, these living arrangements illustrate a man who values stability, careful planning, and a grounded approach to both personal and public life. Unlike many national politicians whose homes often serve as symbols of wealth or status, Graham's residences reflect a consistent philosophy: maintain privacy, foster connections with the community, and structure life around responsibility and service. The choices he has made over decades demonstrate a deliberate effort to balance public service with personal priorities, ensuring that his living environment supports both professional efficiency and personal contentment. By carefully selecting and maintaining these properties, Graham has created a lifestyle that aligns with his values and reinforces his identity as a disciplined, independent, and community-oriented individual. His residential history provides insight into the private life of a public figure who has consistently chosen substance, stability, and practicality over showy displays or domestic entanglements. Lindsey Graham's homes are more than just places to live. They are reflections of his character, priorities, and public persona. Unlike many politicians whose residences serve as statements of wealth, influence, or style, Graham's properties convey stability, practicality, and a rooted connection to community. His primary residence in Seneca, South Carolina, demonstrates a desire for privacy and grounded living, while also signaling long-term commitment to the town and region he represents. The home's modest ranch-style design, set near Lake Keowee and the Blue Ridge Mountains, offers a serene retreat from the demands of political life while reinforcing Graham's values of continuity, simplicity, and accessibility. Similarly, his townhouse in Washington, D.C., is modest and functional, built to serve the practical needs of a working senator rather than to impress or showcase luxury. Together, these two residences illustrate a dual-life approach common among senior lawmakers: one home for professional efficiency and engagement in national affairs, and another for personal retreat, comfort, and community involvement. Even his undeveloped parcel of land in South Carolina contributes to this narrative, representing an ongoing investment in his home state, a tangible connection to his roots, and a symbol of long-term planning and foresight. Collectively, these properties communicate that Graham prioritizes responsibility, stability, and purpose over extravagance, aligning with his reputation as a disciplined, methodical, and independent figure. For constituents and observers, his homes provide a quiet but clear message. He values rootedness, privacy, and the continuity of personal and professional life over public spectacle. In a political environment where appearance often outweighs substance, Graham's approach to his residences underscores a commitment to authentic values, showing that his personal lifestyle mirrors the discipline, independence, and pragmatism evident in his public service. Lindsey Graham's personal lifestyle demonstrates a philosophy built around independence, discipline, and careful management of responsibilities. Remaining unmarried and living without a romantic partner has allowed him to devote himself fully to professional obligations while maintaining a consistent, structured daily life. His choice to maintain long-term, modest residences in South Carolina and Washington, D.C., combined with the ownership of undeveloped land, shows a deliberate strategy to integrate personal life with public service in a sustainable, practical way. The pattern of Graham's living arrangements reflects values instilled from childhood: hard work, responsibility, and a strong sense of duty toward family and community. From caring for his younger sister after the death of their parents to balancing college, military service, and early legal responsibilities, Graham learned early how to manage multiple priorities effectively. These lessons have clearly influenced his approach to adulthood, both in terms of property choices and broader lifestyle decisions. By selecting homes that emphasize functionality and stability, he creates an environment that supports his career, personal interests, and community involvement. Furthermore, Graham's approach illustrates a broader life philosophy. Success is not measured by luxury, romantic partnerships, or public display, but by responsibility, consistency, and meaningful engagement in the roles one holds. His independence allows him to focus on public service without distraction, while his rootedness in